Three stranded mountain climbers, two of whom are from Dallas, are facing more bad weather tonight on Oregon's Mount Hood.
The pressing question is, can rescue teams reach them in time? CBS 11's Jay Gormley is the only North Texas reporter on that mountain tonight, and he joins us live with the latest. Jay?
And the snow continues to fall, Tracy, heavy at times. That's been the story of the day. The weather has left rescue teams with yet another day of setbacks. Darkness has fallen on another day where rescue teams have come up empty. Three experienced climbers remain stranded on Mount Hood. 48-year-old Kelly James of Dallas has the most experience.
Has Kelly ever been in this type of trouble before?
Not in this type. Kelly, if you're a mountain climber for 25 years, you run into difficult circumstances from time to time. And he's always weathered those pretty well, but nothing quite like this.
Mount Hood is just over 11,200 feet. James is believed to be in a man-made snow cave at 10,000 feet. But terrible weather conditions are keeping rescue teams on hold at 7,000 feet.
The goal is to get up to the summit. It's just that they push as far as they can, and they just, safety reason-wise, they can't go any further than where they've been.
How frustrating is it knowing that search crews are just 3,000 feet away?
Well, it's very frustrating, I got to tell you. I mean, it's hard for us. I mean, the family is strong, to be sure, but we're not immune to those feelings of frustration.
Why don't you show them where the camera is on that one, Mike?
And now another setback. Search teams had planned on launching 3 unmanned aerial vehicles or drones that feed back real-time video.
So if we've got a wind speed of 40 knots and we can only do 35, well, he's drifting backwards at 5 knots. That's still valuable. That's not a bad little crawl speed.
But the drones were no match for 80-mile-per-hour winds, and so they never took flight. And you see the 3 climbers there in the middle. 37-year-old Brian Hall of Dallas. Friends of his, climbers that is, are leaving Dallas and are heading to Oregon. They want to help in the search and should start searching sometime tomorrow morning. Reporting from Mount Hood, Jay Gormley, CBS 11 News.
Rescue teams in Oregon face the worst weather of their 5-day search for 3 missing climbers tonight. Rain, snow, and high winds have frustrated efforts to find Kelly James and Brian Hall, both of Dallas, and Nikki Cooke of New York. The weather forced reporters to relocate to the base of Mount Hood. CBS 11's Jay Gormley is there live tonight with the latest. Jay?
Well, Tracy, with wind gusts of 40 miles per hour at the base, it's no wonder they removed us from the mountain. If the 3 climbers are going to survive yet another night, they're going to have to do so facing winds equivalent to a Category 3 hurricane. Separated by distance, brought together by desperation, Michaela Cook and Angela Hall painfully wait for word on their loved ones.
You know, we'd love to go up there and shake everyone's hand right now for everything you guys are doing.
So you just need to pass it along to everyone personally, that it just means so much to us.
Michaela is the wife of Nikki Cooke. Angela, the sister of Dallas climber Brian Hall. Both men, along with Kelly James of Dallas, remain stranded on Mount Hood.
And while this is one of the worst weather days, our spirits are still high. These are 3 of the most phenomenal men you could ever meet. They're smart, they're strong, and they care so deeply for one another. You know, my husband proposed to me on Mount Rainier, and we're planning our 50th wedding anniversary there, so I know he's coming off this mountain.
But if he does come off the mountain, bad weather is likely to make sure it's not until Saturday. This video is a clear indication that rescue efforts above 7,000 feet are impossible. 100-mile-per-hour sustained winds are causing near whiteout conditions, and so reaching James near the summit will have to wait.
That's hard. It's very hard, and but you know, we're hanging in there.
I'm standing on the Tilly Jane ski trail. Just up the trail, there's a cabin where the 3 climbers stayed Thursday night for warmth and shelter. Before leaving, they signed the registry, thanking the owners for the shelter and the hospitality. But the note left search teams nothing else to track, and so they continue to rely on the final pings generated from James's cell phone. Forecasters say wind gusts could reach 200 miles per hour at the peak of the mountain later on tonight. Reporting live from Mount Hood, Jay Gormley, CBS 11 News.
Some slim new hope tonight for those 3 climbers missing on Oregon's Mount Hood. Now rescue teams are preparing for a major push tomorrow. That's when the weather is expected to get better. Today, the weather forced rescue crews off the mountain. However, a note written by the climbers indicates they have more supplies than first thought. And the C-130 military aircraft has joined in the search for the 3 men. CBS 11's Jay Gormley tonight has the latest from Oregon.
Well, we may have seen the last of the bad weather, and so rescue teams believe the window of opportunity is now open.
Chris, thanks.
The brightest sign of hope came on a bright orange piece of paper.
They did all the right things. They're doing all the right things. They took all the right gear.
3 missing climbers, Kelly James and Brian Hall of Dallas and Nico Cooke of New York, are showing their experience. Before trekking up the dangerous north face of Mount Hood, the 3 men left this note at a ranger station. It details the climbers' route and lists the equipment they brought, including food, fuel, ropes, shovels, and bivy sacks. The bivy sacks may offer the climbers their best chance to survive. It acts as a cocoon or waterproof shell to keep the elements out and the warmth in.
When you're in a snow cave, the temperature is going to hover around freezing because of the insulation from the snow. So adding a bag like this will help keep you dry, and it'll add a little bit of warmth and really help trap some of that body heat that would normally escape.
With the weather expected to clear this weekend, rescue teams will make their big push to the top Saturday. The drones with real-time cameras have already made several flyovers. Black Hawk helicopters are standing by, and a promising tomorrow has everyone optimistic.
The family really wants the rescuers to know that we consider them heroes. We know they are risking their lives on behalf of our loved ones.
And the local paper, the Oregonian, is also offering hope. It tells of a story of survival in 1976. It reads, "If we made it, they can too." It tells the story of 3 teenagers who survived on Mount Hood for 13 days. Reporting from Mount Hood, Jay Gormley, CBS 11 News.
Optimism was high going into what rescue teams called the big push to find Dallas climbers Kelly James, Brian Hall, and their friend Jerry Cooke. But search teams on foot are coming off of Mount Hood tonight as darkness is falling. However, the search is not off. Rescue efforts are continuing using sophisticated military aircraft. CBS 11's Jay Gormley has been in Oregon since the search began and joins us live now from near the search site. Jay?
Well, Cliff, finally a break in the weather, but not the break that rescue crews were hoping for. Take a look at Mount Hood today. You can see it's much clearer today than in previous days. Rescue climbers were able to make it to just over 10,000 feet on both the north and south side of the mountain. That's almost near the summit, but high winds once again turned them back. From high above, a C-130 searches for the missing climbers, and while ground crews are coming off the mountain, the search continues from above.
This is the day we've been praying for. I'm glad you can hear those helicopters coming in, because that means they're going up to look for our boys.
It's a full assault on Mount Hood. Helicopters in the sky, an outpouring of support on the ground.
God bless you guys.
Yes, thank you guys.
But well-wishers and a break in the weather will not eliminate the danger at hand.
The biggest danger is the winds and what they're doing. They got some pretty strong winds up there.
More than 50 rescue climbers will ascend the north and south side of the mountain. The goal is to reach the summit. That's where missing climbers Kelly James and Brian Hall of Dallas and Nico Cooke of New York are believed to be stranded.
And I know my son's coming down today. It's my birthday, and he wouldn't miss my birthday, I know.
For the first time, the mothers of all 3 missing climbers spoke. Their words were filled with hope and mixed emotions.
Whenever Brian climbed a mountain, our goal was every night we're going to look at the same moon. Last night I saw the moon. I'm very hopeful about that.
Every time I think about my son in the snow cave, hungry, cold, tear my heart apart.
If the helicopters spot the missing men, they are likely to be airlifted from the mountain. It's proof that these pilots are angels in the sky. And for a moment there, search crews thought they saw something, but it turned out to be either rock formations or something blowing in the wind. They say that they're actually being teased by the weather. It was not the climbers, and so the search continues from high above. But again,
the ground crews are coming back. Reporting live from Mount Hood, Oregon, Jay Gormley, CBS 11 News.
And for the first time since 3 climbers went missing more than a week ago, the search is going on into the night on Mount Hood. Kelly James and Brian Hall are both from Dallas. They were climbing the mountain with a friend, Jerry Cooke. CBS 11's Jay Gormley is live near Mount Hood, where there's still hope of finding the climbers alive. Jay, what can you tell us?
Well, Cliff, the C-130 can conduct those night missions because of infrared technology. But as far as the rescue climbers, well, they've been grounded for the night.
By daybreak, Mount Hood stood majestically in the morning sun. By noon, the winds of change brought a harsh reality. Black Hawk helicopters managed to cut through 50-mile-per-hour winds to reach the summit. But rescue climbers weren't so lucky. Despite a clearing in the weather, gusty winds kept search teams from reaching the top, and by 2 o'clock they went back down the mountain. But the helicopters kept flying. At one point, a Black Hawk spots something from high above.
There was a possible visual sighting. The aircraft, there was a UH-60 crew that made the sighting. They came down, refueled, went back up, and it was not the climbers that they were looking for.
If the missing climbers are in snow caves, the hope is they will venture out from time to time.
Most people in snow caves will dig themselves out each day, let some fresh air in. I would hope that they would get out, see the weather, and be out there knowing that people are out there looking for them.
The day started promising. The families of the missing men came out to cheer on their heroes.
God bless you guys.
Yes, thank you guys.
It then turned emotional as the mothers of the missing climbers spoke for the first time.
I heard a mountaineer last night say something that really touched my heart, and the quote was, "Love him for what he loves."
God is sending his soldier today to save our sons.
And so the soldiers march on. The soldiers fly high. And the soldiers will be back another day to hopefully rescue 3 lives and the spirits of their loved ones.
And the rescue climbers fell just short of the summit, about 1,000 feet short. Of course, the goal is to reach the top. They will try again tomorrow. Reporting live from Mount Hood, Oregon, Jay Gormley, CBS 11 News.
We begin the news tonight with a search for the missing climbers on Mount Hood in Oregon. After a week of searching for Dallas residents Kelly James and Brian Hall, along with their climbing buddy Jerry Cooke from New York, rescuers found a body on the mountain late this afternoon. We have team coverage of these developments. Brooke Ritchie is here in Dallas with friends and family, but we begin with CBS 11's Jay Gormley, who is live at Mount Hood. Jay?
Well, Cliff, search teams had the grim task tonight of telling one of the families that they lost a loved one. It marks the end of a day with plenty of ups and downs.
The day seems so promising. A prayer before flying. A father with hope in his heart.
There's no reason to have anything less than high optimism for a successful outcome.
Conditions were perfect. Sunshine, low winds, and a mountain view as far as the eye could see.
The visibility is great right now, and as long as the winds don't pick up and the snow isn't carried around, searchers are going to be able to see a long way on the mountain. They'll be able to see a long way down, they'll be able to see a long way up.
Then a discovery.
We found what we believe is a snow cave.
A Chinook helicopter then drops rescue climbers on the summit. But when they arrive at the snow cave, they find equipment, but that's all.
I'm disappointed, because I was hoping, we was going to find something, and get these guys back.
Then another discovery. Rescue climbers descend down the north face to yet another snow cave. That's where they found the body of what appears to be one of the 3 missing climbers.
I can't even begin to imagine the grief of losing someone, but not knowing who it is. We're going to find out as soon as possible, and we're going to let those families know. They deserve that.
The name of that missing climber who was found inside the snow cave will be released tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Oregon time. Reporting live from Mount Hood, Oregon, Jay Gormley, CBS 11 News.
Jay, we appreciate your coverage. Certainly a grim discovery today. And how does that affect the mood of everyone who's there?
Well, it was tough. If you talk about the families, they came in, spirits were high, so optimistic, and then they found that first snow cave, they found equipment, and boy, spirits really rose at that point. and then of course the grim discovery, so certainly a tough day for them. We haven't seen the family since this morning's news conference. As far as the search teams, the rescue crews, well, they too were very optimistic. As I mentioned, the weather was perfect. They got a great vantage point from atop the mountain. They were able to see around the entire mountain, so they thought, okay, this is our day. This is when we're going to really get these guys and take them home. And of course, their first find, obviously a huge disappointment at this point.
Jay, both the family and the rescuers have such an investment. It's got to be a very sad time. We appreciate it. Be careful out there. We know you're getting a little sick. We can hear it. Take care of yourself.
The body of Dallas climber Kelly James was pulled from Mount Hood late today.
While James' body has been recovered, the search continues for 2 other climbers. CBS 11's Jay Gormley's been covering the story from Mount Hood since early last week, and he joins us live again from Oregon. Jay?
Well, Karen, it was a very tough day for the families. You had one family who had to identify the body of a loved one, and then the other families, well, they were wondering if their 2 loved ones are still surviving on the mountain, and although they're holding out hope, others say hope is fading fast.
As the sun set on Mount Hood, rescue teams had accomplished one of 2 missions.
We had to move him up to the summit, which is extremely demanding. And then we were able to airlift him out by helicopter at that point, which was a big help.
Climbers removed the body of Kelly James of Dallas from a snow cave just below the summit. Rescue teams now have an idea of why James was left there.
It appears that one of the reasons was probably because there was an obvious arm injury.
It appears the other 2 climbers, Brian Hall and Nico Cook, left for help. Their families still have hope that the 2 men are alive.
The prayers that are with us, they need to be even stronger now, because the James family needs our 2 loved ones, Jerry and Brian, to come home just as much as we do.
But rescuers are having doubts. They have narrowed down their search to the most dangerous part of the mountain just below the 2 snow caves that were uncovered Sunday. That section has a 60-degree decline, a 2,500-foot drop, and is prone to avalanches.
And now search teams are bringing up the possibility that perhaps those final 2 climbers took a terrible fall. Again, they're not saying that's definite, but they are looking at that possibility. They're still calling this a search and rescue, not a search and recovery. Live from Mount Hood in Oregon, Jay Gormley, CBS 11 News.
Now, Jay, from everything we've read, everything we've heard, this is the most dangerous side of that mountain. How are they going about the search?
Well, certainly not from the ground. They're not putting climbers on that side of the mountain. It's simply too dangerous. Right now, the only way to approach that is through the air, bringing helicopters as close to the mountain as possible and getting a visual scan of that section of the mountain.